Good morning, guys. This morning after work, I finished putting together this other drill press here, and I just figured I'd give you a little quick shot of it. So it's not fine-tuned. I mean, everything's the way I want it. The only thing that I might adjust is the height. This whole section can come down quite a bit, and of course, the shelf can come down quite a bit. As it stands now, it's pretty tall. Anyways, as expected, it cleaned up real well. Its handles came out beautiful. Really nice piece. What's interesting is that you see the Jacob's chuck came out nice. Under the base plate here, there was it almost looked like a soapstone rubbing, but somebody had wrote in it with like an eraser. Something about where this was made. This was actually made in some kind of a machine shop in a town that's about an hour away from my location here in Syracuse. So pretty interesting. I think this is a Craftsman. Little wheel here says Craftsman. The belt says Craftsman. I know they were affiliated with Dunlap way back when. So the only thing I have left to do is mount the motor here to this back plate. I broke one of the bolts when I took the base plate off the motor. They're old and rusty, so I snapped one of them. So I'm gonna replace them with some bolts. I got bolts everywhere, so I'm gonna get some sleep today. Kind of calling it a morning for now. But what's also interesting is this piece here reads upside down. That's the way it is, and it's the way it's been, and I'm not going to mess with it. So I just found that interesting that the numbers read upside down. Anyways, so overall, this wasn't too bad of a deal. It's pretty simple of a machine. The only hard part was getting the main section off the shaft. This is solid steel, this pull here, and it's super heavy, but everything else I could shimmy right off, but for whatever reason, this was holding on for dear life, and I had to eventually, I tried spinning it over and over and over, and I was only gaining a millimeter or so every few spins. I would have been there for a week. So eventually I just started whacking it with the dead blow, and it budged a little bit at a time, and I'll tell you, I was switching arms, and I got pretty wore out doing that, so that was kind of a bear. I had to make a repair on the inner spring here. What it is there is where I'm pointing a little barrel that, this bolt here goes through and bolts into this here, so when you turn it, it tightens on the spring. So the existing bolt that came with it was kind of small. It snapped right off. So what I did is I tapped it out a little bit bigger and upgraded the bolt to a little bit bigger of a bolt. So made the spring repair there, and it's fine now. Otherwise, everything was pretty smooth. I had it completely apart, and I figured it's about time I get it back together. So there you have it. And the motor has a base, and gets bolted directly to the back of that plate there. And obviously this part up, and the belt connects on the both of them. So the motor, I cleaned it up and decided to leave it as is in terms of color. I'm not going to paint it at this point. I'm just going to leave it like that. I oiled it up. I went inside of it, made sure all the wiring was correct. Any hardware, I took the nuts and bolts out and cleaned them up. There was a little bit of rust. Anywhere there was rust, I took care of it. I opened up the bottom, stuff like that. I wiped down the cord, just typical stuff, cleanup. But there's the actual plate. Pretty good motor, and I never noticed it had two shafts, so it's almost like a bench grinder. But 3rd horsepower Dunlap, and good little motor, runs great. So within the next couple of days, I will mount the motor up there, put this all together, and upload a video to show you what it looks like complete. But for now, for today anyways, I'm going to call it a day. Show you something else here, a little bonus. Oh, my plans are, like, you know, I've mentioned it in other videos, but this table here has it's a 1/2-inch steel plate top, super heavy. I want this to be under those windows, so eventually I'm going to have this welding table under these windows, and on it I'm going to have both of those drill presses. You can see the older one to the left of the one I just showed you there. So both of those, this drill press, the anvil. I'm going to eventually make it kind of a stand for the anvil, but I'm going to have it on the welding table for the moment. That table saw in the back, the bench grinder there. So there's going to be a lot of stuff on there. So stay tuned for that. I got a lot ahead of me. So I appreciate it, guys. Thanks.